Just as a wee thing before we get started in this video, there will be heavy spoilers for the game coming up in the video, right? So you've been warned.
Bravo team, entry secure. Move in and take positions. Quiet. Did you hear that? This is lead. Give me status. Always clear. There's nothing here, Sam. What the hell? Son of a bitch! Lead, I'm swinging around left. No!
Welcome to another review, and I will now talk to you about Doom 3 for approximately as long as I can be bothered. You could say that Doom 3 was the black sheep of the Doom franchise family, and certainly definitely is that way. It's the game that is the least like any Doom game I've ever played. In fact, I would actually say that if id were making Doom 3, had they spent more time making a Doom game and not a Half-Life clone, they might have actually come off a little bit better. That's not to say that Doom 3 is a bad game. It is not. It just isn't a Doom game. It is a horror Half-Life clone, and it's weird. Very, very strange they went down that road. Because one wouldn't say that Doom was like a serious horror game. It was cartoony, and it was like a lot of action, a lot of gore, a lot of silliness. Had its spooky moments every now and again, more so with the remakes, like the Doom 64 or the remaster on PlayStation 1, for instance. They're a bit more spooky, better lighting, shit like that, dark places where you can see nothing. That is Doom 3 in its entire essence. Its lighting is it's part of its character as much as the Imp or the Doom Marine or a shotgun or the BFG. It's weird, and I like it, but I'm not in love with it. It's not a game that I would go, oh, I must play that again in a 6-month period, or I'll fire on Doom 3 and play it every week. No, you're not going to do that. Well, I didn't by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, I haven't actually finished Doom 3 in quite some time. The last time I remember finishing it was when I got the original Xbox version that had bits removed and levels trimmed down, and actually it was a much, much more fun experience than its PC counterpart. I did finish it in PC, but I didn't love it. Mostly because my PC could barely handle the loading of the game. But I thought the Xbox version, it was a more focused game. Less farting about, less stupid wee side things that are just so annoying. They took some of the horror aspect out. There's bits where you'll get wee cutscenes of like the fucking whole room will burst into flames. They took a lot of that out, which is fine. They were kind of jarring and weird, and they didn't really add anything. It's like, oh, that's really spooky, isn't it? Well, see, when you play it now, it's more annoying than it's actually upsetting the flow of the game. And there are mini games. One of them is forced. One of them you have to use a claw arm to remove toxic gas barrels. That was just terrible. I didn't like it. It stops the game dead in its tracks, and you're like, oh, up, down, left, right, up, down. Oh, is it on that? Oh, it's there. Oh, no, up, down. Very, very annoying stuff. The other mini game is Super Turbo Turkey Puncher 3. That's completely optional, and it's funny, but it does get really boring. And there is an achievement or trophy tied to it if you get like a certain amount of points. Just keep punching until you get a trophy pop up on the screen, then you can leave it. And never look at it again, ever. Ever. So why do I say this is more like Half-Life than Doom? Well, let me put you in the picture. You start the game, you get dropped off by a space shuttle at a spaceport on Mars, and then you get to walk around the complex and explore and download things to your PDA. Play this stupid arcade game, Turbo Turkey, blah blah blah, yeah. Punch that turkey until it's dead 1,000 times over. Walk around, maybe slightly interact with some of the NPCs. Then you go and you talk to yourself. Like, you took your sweet time getting here, Marine. I said, it only took the time it takes normally to walk from one end of the base to the fucking other, you bald-headed wank. And this is the guy that The Rock plays in the Doom movie, and I'm going to say something really fucking weird and controversial here, right? See the turning of Sarge in the actual game? Ridiculous, it's just sudden. They actually nuance it a bit more in the movie, and he doesn't turn into a tank somehow. It's like, yes, Sarge turns into a tank. What? Why? Dunno. Aye, okay. Where did they come from? Was that a secret thing they were doing? Tank treads on humans? It's a bit silly if you ask me. I prefer legs, personally. They're a lot more useful, and you can go up and down stairs. It's just a wee bit embarrassing that the movie does a better job of character development than this long-ass game. Took your sweet time. I fucking hate that guy. It just irritates me. I'm glad I got to kill him. Do you know that? Shoot him in the face with a fucking BFG prick. Anyway, other monsters that I hate. Other monsters that I hate are the wee spider fucking things that appear throughout the game. And they're not even satisfying to fight. They just sort of, when you kill them, roll into themselves and turn into a wee pile of sick. And they can fucking stun lock you into corners, and it's like, this isn't Doom. Why are there wee annoying spider things that are like fucking ankle high, and that's not the only wee annoying fast enemies. The spiders aren't fast. They're slow. You can just miss them because they're like, you need to look completely down at the ground almost. Like, what the fuck is this? Oh, it's a spider. And they'll jump at you like a facehugger. I hate it. Then you get these wee baby things. It's like, what the fuck is this? They're actually quite disturbing looking, but they're just shite and annoying, and they're rocket fast. They get wee wings and they just float about the place and annoy you, and it's like, when you just get to fuck, this isn't Doom! Well, Half-Life had little annoying enemies in the head crabs, so we've got to have them, only we'll outdo them and make them 10 times more irritating and add more than one type of small irritation to irritate you. And just because Half-Life did it doesn't mean you have to, okay? If it's not good there, it's not good here. I actually don't mind the head crabs because you can battle them to death with a crowbar. You don't have a crowbar in this. You don't have any melee weapons apart from your fists, and they're shite, useless. Very shite and useless. There are some new monsters that I quite like. There's like this double-headed thing that's quite satisfying to shoot in its coupon. You've got like a spider boss, which I actually don't like. Again, it's not very Doom. It looks more like something out of a Darksiders or a Zelda. What else is it? They've changed the Baron of Hell now to a Hell Knight, which I actually quite like. It looks like the Shambler from Quake. That's what it reminds me of, and they do make appearances in other Doom games. Only slightly redesigned, you know. What else? There's a teleportation thing that's quite annoying. The Lost Souls are as irritating as you remember from the other games. The Pinky Demons, now I really do like the Pinky Demons. They're fast, they look menacing, they're half mechanical. It's like, yeah, that's cool. It's one of the actual changes that I did like. Cyber Demon's a boss fight at the end, which was pish. The Guardian of Hell, where you get the soul cube off of, was quite a good boss fight. You need to shoot these wee light things that float around about it. Then you fucking leather it with a rocket launcher. It's pretty cool. There's not an awful lot of variety in the locales though. That's a big disappointment for me. It's just like everything's really dark and industrial. They really went over the top with the lighting. You go to Hell a little bit, but not enough to break the game up. It's mostly in wee dark tunnels trodden about, where you can see next to nothing. Pull out your torch, which is now on your actual armour, as opposed to being a separate thing. Thank God they changed. I hated that. It's little, but that's part of the game, yeah, but it doesn't make it good. Just because it's part of the original game to have a separate torch, which you can batter folk with, which was pretty funny. You can't attack the NPCs, but see if you time your swing enough, and you're far enough away, you can walk into the fucking swing and kill them, which I thought was hilarious, and no one will say a fucking dicky bird to you. What I did like was the PDA system. You have to look and listen in your PDA files for door codes. The only problem is you can miss them, and if you miss them, you're fucked. You can't get in certain sections. But you can do what I do and just look it up online, because I'm not fucking trudging through all that shite. No chance. But it was still a pretty novel way for you to get lore and get things you need in the game. Big fan of that. Or am I? You would think that I wasn't by the way I was just talking about it, but I actually do quite like it. Christ, there's even a monorail section now that I remember it, and I almost completely forgot about that. It's also got some fake choices. Fake choice being that you can either call in the military or you can not call in the military, whereby if you choose not to call them in, the bad guy will call them in a couple of missions later anyway, so it really doesn't make any difference. In fact, if your choices are going to wind up to mean fuck all, don't have them because it's just silly. It's not an RPG for Christ's sake, it's DooM! As for characters, you've got this bureaucrat guy turns up with his wee marine buddy who's got a BFG, and aye, that's about all I can say about that because I don't really care. Dr. Betruger's quite interesting, he's creepy looking. You just know he's the bad guy from the minute you see him. He's got like one less scaly eye and he's like, oh, he's all creepy and shit. Well, if they hadn't have fucking forced me to do that, they would have got better results. A smarmy, arrogant prick. You're like, I'm going to be killing you. Spoiler, you don't. Yeah, that's the next thing about this game is you don't kill the main bad guy at the end of the game. He just escapes. Turns into this big flying creature and fucks off back into hell's arsehole. And you're like, aye, very good. The last bad guy is a cyber demon and it's huge. It's like the size of a fucking house. In fact, it's bigger than that. It's like the size of 5 houses stacked on top of each other. And you don't actually fight it per se. It's a wave battle where you fight hordes of wee enemies to power up this soul cube. Once the soul cube's powered up enough, you let it fly and it'll damage the cyber demon and you'll rinse and repeat until you kill the fucking thing. Whereby the cube cuts its leg off and then sticks right in its fucking coupon. Good night, cyber demon, you will shite. And then the game ends and there's 2 add-on packs. There's the Resurrection of Evil add-on pack where you'll go a different marine. I don't even... Aye. We'll review that one another time. That'll be a separate video. Plus the Lost Mission. I might just do a Doom 3 DLC review and do both of them at the same time. Because I don't think the Lost Mission is all that long. So, it'd be interesting to see. I've never played it. I've briefly played Resurrection of Evil with the redesign of the Lost Soul to look like the Lost Soul this time and not just some bald-headed fuckwit with an engine in their throat. Yeah, weird. Very strange. So in conclusion, I think Doom 3 is a good time. It is a good game. It's just, it's not Doom, and I really think it missed an opportunity here to create a new franchise, a new horror shooter genre. First person survival horror with no lights. I didn't like the no lights part. I actually just found it really irritating. Pulling the torch out of it. Even the torch you get on your fucking armour runs out of energy, like, and it's takes 2 seconds to power back up and you're switching on, off, on, off. It's just, why even bother at that point? But there's no way around it. They had to do, you couldn't have the torch on constantly because it would break the game, and it would you could see everything coming and it would be a scoosh. But then if you don't have the torch on, you can see absolutely fucking nothing, and it gives way from fear to pure and utter frustration, and it's like, this isn't scary anymore, this is just annoying. I can't see anything to be scared. It's like, have I gone blind? The game does have a couple of novel bits with the lighting system where you have to, you know, like escort a wee scientist guy through a wee maze that's gone completely dark because of a power outage. That was cool. It lasts about 5-10 minutes tops and then it's over. Yeah, I wish it sort of had focused sections with the light and not like the whole game be this puzzle light fucking fiasco. And like, oh, but you gotta shoot monsters as well, but I can't shoot what I can't see. Unless they're firing fireballs at you. And even that, well, here's another thing that I really like. You can shoot the fireballs out the air of like the imps and the cacodemons and that. That's cool. And the version that I'm playing is the remaster, the re-release. This is like the 3rd re-release. You've got the original release, the one on the original Xbox, then you've got the one on the Xbox 360, and then you've got this one, so it's the 4th release. Not the BFG edition, but it is, it's just not called that any longer. It's just called Doom 3, and it's digital only, so if you want a physical copy of this, you will need to buy it on PC, which is a Steam code, so forget that, The Xbox 360 or the PS3. Be aware though, the PS3 is janky and it's got really inconsistent frame rates. The Xbox 360 version isn't perfect, but it's fucking hell of a lot better than the PS3 version. So, plus, with both versions, you'll get Doom and Doom 2, the original Doom and Doom 2, which I really like. So they weren't too stingy. But it's the only way you get a physical release. It is available in backwards compatibility on Xbox One, not on PS4 or 5. You're going to have to get the digital version, which isn't that expensive. It's cheap. It's also out on Switch. Sorry, forgot about that. It's also out on the Now, if you want to play your Doom games on the go, I don't. I get horrible motion sickness when I play games on the go. So I'm a home gamer, or stationary gamer, I suppose. You can do that if you do so wish. Okay, well, thanks for joining me on this triumphant, whatever this is, review journey thing down memory past. I will do a review of Doom 64 next, and then we'll move on to something else. I'll just talk shite. My usual, my usual. Like I said, thanks for joining. Adios.
Orzu Amiran Inokas. Rise, rise, Quas Mir Yalopan. There is no death for you.